This video, we'll be performing a complete 4-level sentence analysis on this sentence from Thomas Hardy's The Return of the Native, 1878. So, this sentence here is going to be quite the interesting one, as we're soon to see. We're going to perform a 4-level analysis, and what that means is we're going to write out all the different parts of speech for each of the words in this sentence. Then we're going to move on to the parts of sentence, such as the subject, the predicate, and the objects that might be included. Then we're going to do level 3, which is the phrases, such as prepositional phrases, verbal phrases, stuff like that, groups of words that serve a specific purpose, basically. And finally, we're going to go over level 4, which are the clauses. A sentence can have at least 1, sometimes 2, and even 3 clauses. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with level 1 here, the parts of speech. So this level is actually pretty straightforward for this sentence. So we have our first word, but, here. So here's the entire sentence. But 'tis, or it is, a melancholy thing, and my blood ran cold when you spoke. So that's our sentence here that we're analyzing. So our first word, but. So this is going to be a conjunction because it seems to lead in from a different statement. It's saying something before this and then contrasting that with what the sentence is about to say. So but is conjoining those two thoughts there. So but is a conjunction here in this case. Now the second word here, you have to recognize that this diminutive form here, this 'tis, it actually, it is. It's 2 words. So you can write it is, just to make it clear here when you're diagramming this. And you can, what you want to do is you want to find the part of speech of each individual word. So it, that's going to be a pronoun. And is, that's going to be a verb. So, really 2 words in there. This is just a kind of a contractional or combined form there. It's really a pronoun and a verb. Then we have a. That's going to be an adjective. What we're really leading into thing, because melancholy is also adjective. So it's a thing and it's a melancholy thing. So we know that melancholy must be an adjective describing the thing, which is a noun. Then we have another conjunction. It's conjoining these 2 thoughts here, the melancholy thing and the blood running cold. So, and, we know, must be a conjunction. Then my is going to be an adjective. Whose blood was it? It was my blood. So blood is going to be a noun there, as you can see. Then ran, that's a verb. It's an action of running. Cold is going to be an adverb. It's modifying the verb ran. How did it run? It ran cold. That's our adverb there. Then when is going to be another conjunction. Here, this one is a subordinating conjunction because it's combining the part of sentence that says, my blood ran cold and you spoke. So we're already getting a bit of a hint here that we're going to have many, many clauses in this sentence. Possibly more than 2, but we're going to dive into that a bit later. For now, let's move on to you, which is going to be a pronoun, and spoke, which is a verb. So that is our level 1 parts of sentence right there. Now we have level 2, or level 1 part of speech. Level 2 part of sentence we're moving on to next. And here, this could get quite complicated because we have multiple pronoun or noun and verb pairs. Let's go ahead and start all the way over here on the left. So we have, right away, a pronoun and a verb pair, as we can see, it and is. That all seems like a pretty good choice there for one of our subject-predicate pairs. So we're going to set it as the subject. A subject must be either a pronoun or a noun, always. Then is going to be an LVP, linking verb predicate, in this case. And this is representing the famous LVP equation. It equals thing, and the thing is the noun subject complement. Because when we have an LVP, we always have a subject complement. Our equation here is it equals thing. Very straightforward, but that's all it is. When you have an LVP, you almost always have an equation in that form. Alright, so that is our first subject predicate SC pair or equation there. We have more, though. As you can see, we have this noun and verb, blood ran there. You can see the subject of this separate idea is going to be blood. And ran, this is going to be an AVP because it's describing the action of running. And there is actually no DO here, or no direct object. It's just the blood running. It doesn't run to anyone or any other object. It's just running, so that's all we have. Now, let's see, is there anything else? Well, we do have this pronoun right here, you, this pronoun, which is going to be our third subject of our third clause as it appears, and spoke is going to be our action verb predicate. And that's all we have for level 2 parts of sentence for the sentence. Okay, now level 3, let's see, do we have any phrases? The first thing we always should look for when looking for phrases is, do we have any prepositions? Because a preposition is usually a sure sign that there are prepositional phrases. If you have a preposition, an adjective, and a noun, that right there gives you a prepositional phrase. But in this sentence, we don't appear to have any prepositions. We also don't see any to forms, which means no infinitives, and there aren't any gerunds or participles, as we can see. So we must conclude that there are no phrases in this sentence. Okay, so that's level 3 taken care of. And finally, we have level 4. This is going to be the most interesting part of this sentence. So, level 4 is concerns the clauses, and a clause is basically a complete or not so complete idea of a sentence. It's describing an action or an idea that's separate from anything else in the sentence or in another sentence. So here, let's see, to discern our first clause, we're going to go ahead and look for our first subject-predicate pair. So we have this subject and LVP all the way on the left here, and the SC as well. So, and we can see there's a comma right here after thing. So this gives us a little bit of a clue. So let's go ahead and read it through this first part of the sentence from but to thing, from up until the SC. But it is a melancholy thing. So that seems to stand on its own. If you were to put a period after that comma instead, if you were to put a period after the word thing, you would have a complete sentence telling you that this first part of the sentence here would be an independent clause. If I can get this thing, okay. So that means we have an independent clause here for this first part of the sentence. Okay, independent clause. Alright, so we have more though. This isn't all, because we have this subject and AVP over here. Blood ran. This is the next important part here. And the important thing to notice is this conjunction, and, right in here. So this is going to be a coordinating conjunction, because we can see our subject and AVP. Our next clause is going to be, my blood ran cold. That's another independent clause. So far we have I, comma, coordinating conjunction, then another I. So and the second I in this case is my blood ran cold up until there, not including this conjunction. This conjunction is it's sort of acting as a glue between these two clauses, if you will. So it's not part of either clause. It's just sitting out there on its own, bringing those two clauses together. So we have another independent clause here. Independent clause. Okay, so we have one more clause, as you can see, because we have a subject and AVP all the way on the end here. The trick is this going to be dependent or independent, and where does it start? Well, we can see this independent clause here, its bounds, it goes from my blood ran cold. That's where it is. It's sitting there in the sentence. Now, it wouldn't make any sense if our dependent clause started any further back than when. Like, for example, cold when you spoke. Wouldn't make any sense. We don't need to include cold again in our third clause. All we want to summarize in this third statement of an action is the fact you spoke. So that's going to be a dependent clause, when you spoke. And that's not an independent, because if you just say when you spoke, period, it doesn't make any sense. It sounds weird on its own because it's not a complete idea, which is why these last three words of the sentence, These last three words are just a dependent clause. So when you spoke, this is a dependent clause. Okay. So now we've completely filled out all of the clauses in this sentence. We have two independents and one dependent on the end. Now, the final step is to classify this sentence. Is it basically our basic classifications are ID, D comma I comma CCI, and I semicolon I. But as you can see here, this sentence doesn't fit into any of those basic classifications. We have three clauses here, an I, and a D. And in fact, that's exactly what we have. This is an IID compound complex sentence. So we're going to get to this in a minute. Compound complex sentence. And this is a declarative. I'm just going to mention that. So IID compound complex sentence. And the reason why we're calling this sentence compound complex is because of our first two independent clauses. So we have an I and an I. Whenever we have two clauses of the same type, or in this case, both independent, we call that a compound. So that's where the compound comes from here. So these two contribute to the compound. Then this dependent out here, we have the independent and the dependent. So that's an I and a D, two different clause types. And whenever we have that, we have a complex sentence. So these last two clauses contribute to the complex part of this. So that's why this is called an IID compound complex sentence. And with that, we've successfully analyzed this sentence from Thomas Hardy's The Return of the Native, published 1878. So that was quite an interesting journey. We got to see a sentence with three different clauses, three different subject-predicate pairs here. No phrases, but yeah, that was quite interesting. I do have a few other videos on sentence analyses like this on the channel, so if you're interested for more like this, please check that out. Well, that's all for this sentence.